everyone, I'm Kelly from Culikid, and today we're going to make carrot cake. Now, this recipe comes from Joy the Baker, and it's one of my favorites for a few reasons. One is we're using browned butter instead of just regular butter, which is going to give it a nice nutty flavor. And two, because it's made in a loaf pan, which is super easy to decorate, slice, store, all of that good stuff. And three, because of the frosting, which is half cream cheese, half butter. So if you're not usually a fan of cream cheese frosting, this is a good balance, and it goes really well with the cake. So let's get started. The first thing we do is get our supplies and ingredients. So for our ingredients, we'll need flour, sugar, buttermilk, vanilla extract, salt, non-stick cooking spray, butter, cinnamon, nutmeg and ginger, baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda, 2 eggs, and 2 carrots. And for our supplies, we'll need this loaf pan, a peeler and a grater for the carrots, and a small pan. And then the rest of what we need we'll grab as we go. It's pretty basic for baking. We'll need a couple of mixing bowls and prep bowls. We'll need a whisk and a spoon, and measuring cups and measuring spoons. So we'll just grab them as we need them. Okay, so now we're ready to start cooking. And the first thing we always do is wash our hands, which I have already done, but if you haven't, take a minute to go do that now. And next we usually turn on our oven. And my oven is really loud, so I'm going to not do that right now. But if for you at home, you can preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And next we'll prepare our baking pan. So we need to make sure that the cake doesn't stick to the inside. So we're going to take this cooking spray and spray it all around the pan, making sure we get the sides and the bottoms evenly covered. And now we'll set this to the side until we're ready. Now we can start browning our butter, which means that we're going to melt it until it starts to brown on the bottom and have little bits of brown pieces, and has a really nice flavor. So we'll turn on our stove with our pan on the burner to medium heat. And we need 6 ounces of butter, which is 12 tablespoons. So I actually showed you 1 stick, but you actually need 1.5. So we need 12 tablespoons. So this is 8. So that whole thing will go in. And then we need 4 more from here. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll cut right here. And that half a stick will go into our pan as well. Okay, so while our butter melts and browns, we're going to move on to our next step, which is to mix together our dry ingredients. So that includes our flour, sugar, baking soda, and our spices. So we need 2 cups of flour. So we're going to take our 1 cup measuring cup and dip it into the bag, scoop out 1 cup, and level it off. That's 1, and we'll do it one more time, and 2. And now we need 3/4 cup of sugar. So we'll do the same thing, scoop, level, and pour. Okay, and I just want to stop right now to just point out that you can hear our butter sizzling while it melts. So once it gets past that point, then we'll check on it and we'll see that it's starting to brown on the bottom. So now we need to add our baking soda. So we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we will just scoop in. I want you to use the top of the box, level it off. I'm just scraping this along the top, and you can see it perfectly level. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Pour that in. And then we'll need 3/4 teaspoon of both cinnamon and ginger. And next we will do 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And that will be followed by 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And if you're worried about when you pour the salt, if you're worried about pouring too quickly, you want to do it over the sink or over another container because you definitely don't want to pour too much extra salt in here and make your delicious dessert too salty. So now we will mix this all together. And the easiest way to do that for dry ingredients is to use a whisk. So we're just going to take our bowl and our whisk and just move this around and see when everything starts to get incorporated. And you can tell because we have some dark clumps of spices. You want to make sure it all looks the same. That's how you'll know you're done mixing. Okay, and you can see when you look in here, it looks pretty uniform. If you can see enough, you can see we have little specks of spice all through this mixture. And you can tell the difference between the flour and the sugar as well, and you can tell that that's all mixed together. So we are done with this for now, and we'll set it aside until we need it again. Okay, so right now we're gonna check on our butter and see how it's doing. We wanna make sure that it browns but doesn't burn. So let's just see, we'll give it a quick stir here. Oh, that looks great. Still foaming a little bit, so we want this to subside a little. We're starting to see some brown bits on the bottom, smelling really nice and toasted. So that just needs a few more minutes. So now we're ready to pull our butter off the stove. So remove it from the burner and turn the burner off. And you'll see if you get through this foam on the top that the bottom has all these wonderful brown pieces. And now is the time that I'm wishing that you could also smell what I'm smelling because it smells delicious. So we're gonna give it a little mix, wait for it to cool down. We want it to be cool before we add it to our mixture because we'll add it to uncooked eggs and we don't want the hot butter to cook the eggs. Okay, so now we're going to grate the carrots. And before we do that, we're going to peel them. So here we have this peeler, and you want to be really careful because right here, this inside part is sharp like a knife. So you don't want to touch that with your hands. You don't want to bring it towards you and accidentally nick your hands. So you're going to be nice and careful. So first, before you use any produce, you want to make sure you wash them. So we already did that. You just want to wash under water, no soap. And now we're ready to start using them. So we're going to take this peeler and we're going to peel away from us so it's nice and safe all the way down, and just turn the carrot a little bit with each peel. And we'll do the same with the second one. And I'm just gonna take these peels out of the way. I'm actually gonna save them and use them in a stock. So I'm gonna put them in the freezer with some other ready scraps and use them to make a homemade vegetable or chicken stock. So now we're ready to grate our carrots. So I'm gonna just take a small knife and cut off the tips of the carrots. This one's looking a little brown. We don't need that. So now I'm gonna just take our grater onto our cutting board and turn the carrot around, hold it by the base. or a little lower, but then you'll move your hand back as you start to grate it. And just rub it up and down this grater. And again, you want to be nice and careful because this is also sharp. So you want to make sure that your finger doesn't come too close to hitting this. And you want to be careful where your hands are positioned on the carrot. So right now my hands are safe because they're not on the part of the carrot that is near the grater. But now as I'm getting closer, I just want to move my hand down and make sure that I'm staying nice and safe. And you'll do the same for the second carrot. And when you're doing this, you do want to make sure that you're actually putting pressure onto the carrot. If I was just going up and down like this without any pressure, it wouldn't work very well. It wouldn't get very far very quickly. So now I'm pressing into the grater and it's working a lot better. Okay, so now we'll set this to the side until we're ready to mix it in. And these nubs of the ends of the carrot, I'll actually save again for my chicken stock, or you can just throw them out. So now we're up to the point that we're going to mix together our wet ingredients. So for our wet ingredients, that includes our buttermilk, vanilla, our eggs, and then once we do that, we'll add our carrots and then our butter. So let's get started with the eggs. So I mentioned we need 2 eggs. And the best way to crack an egg is going to be right on the counter on a flat surface rather than on the side of your bowl or something like that, which is more likely to get eggshells. So we're going to give a good solid tap, not too soft, not too hard. And you have a little crack here, so we will push in and pull apart at that crack. Good. And same for the second one. And that's 2. Great. So you want to make sure you look in here, make sure you don't have any shells or anything. And if you did, just scoop it out. And the easiest way to do that would actually be with your other eggshell. You could just reach in and scoop out any bits of eggshell you have in there. So I'm going to just take a minute to wash my hands because I have eggs on them. So next we will add our vanilla extract. And for our vanilla, you'll need 1 teaspoon. So open this, get your 1 teaspoon measuring spoon, and slowly pour this in. Once that it's full, just pour it into your bowl. And last we'll add our buttermilk. So you want to give it a good shake. And you need a 1/4 cup of buttermilk here. Oops, wrong side. So get down to eye level, find our 1/4 cup, and pour right to that line. And pour it in. And if you didn't have buttermilk, you can actually make your own buttermilk at home. And the way you do that is with regular milk and either a tablespoon of lemon juice or vinegar. And so you mix those together and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then you have buttermilk without having to go out and go to the store. So now we are going to whisk everything together. So take your whisk, and I'm tilting my bowl to show you, but this might also be helpful to you to gather everything all in one spot, especially the eggs. And you just want to go back and forth in little circles and make sure that you're breaking up the egg yolks here and incorporating everything so it looks the same. So I'm going to flatten it and just give it a good some circles all together. And And there you go. So everything looks the same yellow color. And just like with our flour mixture, when everything looks the same, that's how you know it's done. So now we will add our grated carrots. So this actually comes apart, so I'll just open this up and dump this all in. Be very careful of this because, like I said, it's a blade. I'm going against it the opposite way. If you don't feel comfortable, just let the extra carrots just get thrown out then. Don't do anything that you're not sure is going to be safe. And we'll whisk it together again. And now you can see that everything is all whisked together. All of the carrots are coated with the mixture and it all looks the same. And now we're ready to add our butter. And now you can see it a little bit better now that the foam has subsided. It has this beautiful brown color, all these little pieces. It looks really nice. So we'll take this spatula and just pour everything in. And use your spatula and give everything a good mix. And again, we have everything here all mixed together, all looking the same. So we are done mixing again. And now we'll combine these both together. So you want to have your wet ingredients, the ones with your carrots, going into your dry ingredients, which is why we have this one in a larger bowl. So we'll just take everything all at once and scoop it in. Okay, and now we'll take our spatula and we're going to do what's called folding the batter together. So we're going to just mix, and then I come through the middle. So I go around the bowl and through the middle, and you want to also go underneath and kind of flip that over too. So what you want to do here is mix until just combined, until it looks the same, and then stop. You don't want it to become over mixed. Then it might become like too dry or too dense, and so we just want it to be just mixed. So you see how we still have flour there, so we need to keep going. So you want it to all look like this batter and have no flour left. Okay, it's looking really good now. And so you want to make sure at the end especially that you're flipping it underneath to make sure that there's no flour, since all of the flour mixture was on the bottom. That might be where it's hiding, but it looks like we have some really well mixed batter that's ready to go into our pan. So we have our pan here ready, all sprayed and greased, and we'll take our bowl in one hand, hold it over, and pour it all in. Now you see that right now it doesn't look like it's filling the whole pan at all. So we're going to take our spatula and press it down and move it so that way it looks like it's going to fill up the whole loaf. Okay, and now it's all set to go in the oven. And that needs to cook for 45 to 50 minutes. So we'll set a timer for 45 minutes and check it with a skewer or a toothpick to make sure it comes out clean. And in the meantime, we can make our frosting. While our cake is baking, we will make our frosting. So our ingredients and supplies are all ready. We will need some powdered sugar, some cream cheese and butter, heavy cream, a little bit of salt, and it'll get topped with some roasted chopped pecans. And to make this, we're going to use a bowl and an electric mixer. And if you don't have an electric mixer, we could use a stand mixer. And if you don't have that, you could do it by hand. Just make sure that your butter and cream cheese are soft enough to blend together. So our first step is going to be to blend together our cream cheese and butter. together. We just put it on the lowest setting, so low to medium, depending on how powerful your mixer is, should be good. Now we will take our powdered sugar and add that to the bowl. And definitely start on low here, so that way this doesn't go everywhere. We're gonna do our best to try to keep it contained to the bowl. Okay, so now you'll see it actually looks more like a cookie dough batter than frosting. So to get it to the right consistency, that's where we're going to add our heavy cream. So give this a little shake and start by adding 1 to 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. So I started with just 1. We'll mix and then see how it looks. Okay, that still looks a little stiff for my liking. So we'll add 1 more tablespoon and then see if that's right. And along with that tablespoon, I'm actually going to do our salt as well. So you just need a little pinch, which means that you're taking through your fingers and grabbing the salt and sprinkling that in. Get rid of that extra. And we'll mix again. And it's starting to look like frosting. Let's see. Now it looks like the frosting that I want on the cake. So we will put this to the side along with our pecans and wait for our cake to be ready, and then we can assemble it. Okay, so our timer just went off. So now we're gonna take our cake out and check to see if it's done. So we have our oven mitts. So we're being nice and careful. Take out our cake, and we're gonna use a toothpick to check if it's done. So just insert it in the middle and take it out and see it's nice and clean. So that shows us our cake is done. If it wasn't, it would come out and it would look like uncooked batter. There would be stuff that comes out on the toothpick. Since ours didn't, that means it's all done. So we're gonna use our oven mitts to lift it onto the cooling rack, speed up some cooling time. And we're gonna let it cool for like about 5 minutes until it's ready to get turned out of the pan. And also make sure you turn off your oven, and we'll check back in once our cake is cooled down. Okay, so our cake has been cooling for about 5 minutes now. So we're gonna take it and turn it out of the pan in order to let it cool a little bit faster as well. So grab our oven mitts just in case the pan is still hot. And flip the baking rack over. Perfect. Yeah. So it's still pretty hot, so we don't want to put the frosting on just yet, otherwise it will just melt right off. So we're gonna let it cool for another couple of minutes, and once that it's ready, then we will put the frosting on. Okay, so our cake has cooled down for another 10 or 15 minutes, so we're going to take it and transfer it to your serving platter. And now we will put our frosting on. So give it a little bit of a mix. And now we're just going to scoop it on. Okay, and so you can decorate this any way you want, but I'm just going to do like a little bit right on top, so that's why I poured everything right in the middle. and let it just pour down the sides a little bit, just naturally, however it's gonna pour. And now we'll take our pecans and just sprinkle them on top. And you can use whatever kind of nuts you like or have on hand. I actually usually like pistachios with this a lot, but I have pecans, so we're gonna use that. And there you have it. You just made yourself a delicious carrot cake. Enjoy!